Dr. Clara Jenkins was a rising star in the field of archaeology, with her chestnut hair always neatly tied in a bun and intelligent, passionate blue eyes. She had dedicated her youth to broken pottery shards and ancient ruins. Her research on the Anasazi civilization in the American Southwest had made a significant impact, promising a bright future. However, at the prestigious Institute of Archaeology in Boston, where she placed all her trust, a shadow lurked. Professor Arthur Thorne, her former mentor, whom she deeply respected, was envious and jealous of her talent. He could not accept a young woman surpassing him in a field he considered his exclusive domain. One golden autumn afternoon, as crimson maple leaves painted the Charles River path, Clara received a call from Professor Thorne. He informed her of an important archaeological discovery in a remote area of New Mexico, a land of magnificent limestone canyons and hidden ancient towns. He convinced her that this was an opportunity to complete her life's work. Clara, with a heart full of enthusiasm, without a hint of suspicion, set off. The trip, which seemed like the beginning of a new chapter in her career, turned into a nightmare. In a small desert town where red adobe houses blended with the earthy landscape, she was abducted by a group of strangers. They were ruthless traffickers, sold out by Professor Thorne in exchange for a large sum of money and to eliminate a rival. Clara was taken to an unfamiliar place, a world completely different from her libraries filled with books and modern laboratories. It was an old, dilapidated building, hidden in a dry valley, where the wind whistled through the cracks in the doors like a lament. She was held captive with many other women whose fates were similar, their eyes filled with despair. Each day was a struggle against fear and helplessness. She remembered her family, her cozy little house in suburban Boston, and the afternoons spent reading under the old oak tree. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but deep in her heart, a small flame of resilience still flickered. Elsewhere, thousands of miles from Clara, Colonel Tom Miller, a high-ranking officer in the U.S. Special Forces, was grappling with a deep emotional wound. Tom was a strong, resolute man with a tall stature, salt and pepper hair, and deep gray eyes. He had been through many battlefields, facing death countless times, but nothing was as painful as the betrayal of the wife he loved dearly. After years of dedicating himself to his country, returning home, he discovered his wife had an affair with his best friend. The marriage shattered, leaving him with an empty void and a loss of trust. Tom took an extended leave of absence, seeking peace in faraway places. He drove through the deserted roads of the West, across vast deserts and majestic mountain ranges. One day, he stopped in a small town in Arizona, where red rock mountains glowed under the sunset and towering saguaro cacti stretched towards the vast sky. Colorful hot air balloons floated in the clear blue sky, creating a magical scene like a fairy tale painting. He rented a small wooden cabin nestled among pine trees where he could watch the sunrise and sunset every day. He spent his time hiking, climbing, and reading. He tried to fill the void in his soul with physical activities and the tranquility of nature. One early morning, as he was jogging on his usual trail, he heard faint cries for help from an abandoned building. His soldier's instinct kicked in. He cautiously approached, and what he saw made his heart clench. A group of men were trying to force a young woman into a car. She struggled weakly, her hair disheveled, her clothes torn, but her eyes still showed resilience. It was Clara. Tom did not hesitate to act. He lunged in, using the combat skills he had honed over many years. The confrontation was quick and decisive. With strength and determination, he defeated the traffickers, freeing Clara. She collapsed, exhausted and panicked. Tom gently helped her up, his eyes filled with concern. Clara looked at him, her eyes still fearful but also filled with immense gratitude. She couldn't believe she had been freed. Tom took her back to his wooden cabin, where he took meticulous care of her. He listened to her story about Professor Thorne's betrayal, about the terrifying days of captivity. He felt the deep pain and trauma within her, and a strange empathy arose in his heart. In the first few days after her liberation, Clara lived in fear and obsession. She often woke up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, the horrifying images replaying in her mind. Tom patiently stayed by her side. He didn't ask much, simply listened and created a safe space for her. He cooked simple but nutritious meals, brewed herbal tea to help her sleep. He took her for walks in the forest, admiring the blossoming wildflowers and listening to the birds sing. Gradually, Clara began to open up. She told Tom about her life, about her passion for archaeology, about her unfinished dreams. Tom also shared his story, about his wife's betrayal, about the pain of losing trust. Two wounded souls, two broken hearts found empathy and comfort in each other. Tom noticed Clara had a special love for nature. She was fascinated by the beauty of the Red Rock Mountains, the blooming cacti and the star-filled night sky. He often took her to the most beautiful spots in the area. Once they climbed a high hill together, gazing at the panoramic view of the valley under the sunset. The white houses nestled on the hillside, and the ancient windmills stood tall, creating a beautiful scene, like a fairy tale village in Santorini. Clara smiled, her first smile in days. "It's beautiful," she whispered, "like a dream." Tom looked at her, his heart warm. He knew she was slowly recovering. He began to take her to small towns around where there were colorful local markets and cozy cafes. They enjoyed traditional dishes together, chatted with friendly locals. Clara gradually rediscovered joy in life. She began to paint, capturing the beauty of nature and people there. Her paintings were full of color and emotion, as a way for her to release the wounds in her heart. One evening, as they sat by the fireplace, Clara told Tom about an archaeological site she had always dreamed of exploring. It was a remote, little-known area, believed to have important traces of the Anasazi civilization. Tom, with his extensive knowledge of geography and survival skills, offered to take her there. They began a new journey. Tom prepared everything carefully, from maps and compasses to food and water. They hiked through treacherous trails, climbed steep cliffs. Tom was always by Clara's side, helping her overcome difficulties. He taught her how to read maps, how to find water sources, how to set up a tent. Clara learned very quickly. She proved to be not only an intelligent archaeologist, but also a strong and resilient woman. After many days of hiking, they finally reached the site. It was a wild area, with the ruins of ancient stone houses and rock paintings. Clara was full of excitement. She began to explore, take notes, and take photos. Tom quietly observed her. He saw the burning passion in her eyes, and he knew that she had found herself again. Throughout the journey, they shared stories, thoughts, and dreams. They watched the sunrise on mountaintops together, listened to the wind howling through the canyons. Their feelings for each other grew day by day, a gentle, deep love built on understanding, respect, and healing. After the archaeological trip, Clara and Tom returned to their wooden cabin. They decided to start a new life together. Clara no longer wanted to return to the treacherous academic world. She wanted to live a simple life, close to nature. She opened a small art gallery in town where she sold her paintings and artworks by local artists. Tom, after his military discharge, also found joy in gardening and helping Clara manage the gallery. Their life together was peaceful and happy. Every morning they enjoyed breakfast on their porch, watching the morning sun filter through the trees. Tom often made coffee for Clara, and Clara would read him the morning news. They went to the market together, buying fresh vegetables from local farmers. Clara gradually got used to life in the small town. She befriended friendly neighbors who were always willing to help. She participated in community activities, teaching art to children in town. Tom also found joy in helping veteran soldiers, sharing his experiences and supporting them in reintegrating into life. One day, Clara received a call from Boston. Professor Thorne had been arrested for human trafficking and fraud. This news did not surprise her, but it brought her a sense of relief. Finally, justice had been served. Clara and Tom decided to adopt an orphaned girl named Lily, a lovely girl with golden hair and big round eyes. Lily brought laughter and joy to their home. Clara taught Lily to paint and told her stories about ancient civilizations. Tom taught Lily how to care for plants and how to fish. Together, they built a warm home filled with love. In the evenings, the family often gathered by the fireplace. Tom told stories of his adventures. Clara read books to Lily, and Lily would draw funny pictures. Laughter and stories echoed throughout the house. Once they traveled to San Francisco together. They stood on the Golden Gate Bridge, admiring the shimmering city lights at night. The sea breeze blew gently, carrying the salty scent of the ocean. Clara leaned on Tom's shoulder, feeling peace and happiness. Little Lily held their hands tightly, her eyes sparkling as she gazed at the magnificent scenery. They also took trips to beautiful beaches. The seawater was sapphire blue, and the white cliffs stood majestically, creating a magnificent landscape. They swam together, built sandcastles, and watched the sunset over the sea. Clara and Tom's life was a testament to how love can heal all wounds, and happiness can be found in the simplest things. They had overcome difficulties and pain together to build a new life, full of love and hope. Their story is not just a love story, but also a journey of healing, a song about human resilience and the beauty of life. Many years passed, and Clara and Tom still lived happily in their small wooden cabin. Lily had grown into a beautiful and talented young woman, inheriting Clara's passion for art and Tom's steadfastness. She often visited her parents, bringing stories of her life. Clara and Tom still kept their habit of hiking, exploring new trails. They still watched the sunrise and sunset together, enjoying simple meals filled with love. Their hair had turned gray, but their eyes still glowed with warmth and love for each other. One autumn afternoon, as the maple leaves once again turned the valley red, Clara and Tom sat on the porch, hand in hand. They looked into the distance, where the Red Rock Mountains still stood majestic, defying time. Clara smiled, resting her head on Tom's shoulder. "You know," she said, "I never thought I'd find happiness like this." Tom squeezed her hand. "Me neither, my love," he said. "You brought light back into my life." They didn't need luxury, frivolous fame. Their happiness lay in simple moments, in each other's presence, in the unconditional love for Lily. They had found a small paradise of their own, where old wounds had been healed and new dreams had blossomed. Clara and Tom's story is a reminder that life can be full of challenges and pain, but love, resilience, and hope will always guide us to the shores of happiness. And sometimes the greatest happiness lies in the simplest things: a cozy home, a loving family, and a peaceful heart amidst the vastness of nature.